quickly on what do you think parents can do as far as this issue is concerned about restricting access to explicit material for their kids? So, ma'am, very quickly.
I'm amazed what kind of deliberations you made me listen to. We are talking about safety for the children. Now, in such cases, 3 months old child is raped. 8 years old child is accused that he attempted to rape. Now, if you don't exercise any control on this material which you are placing on the internet, you will not be able to control it at all, because children are curious and they, whatever they can lay their hands on, they will consume it, and they would try to take it out, implement it.
Okay. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. I do regret the fact that we didn't have more time for our guests, but I do thank them for joining us. We are going to toss across to the right stand now.
प्रमाण मिल जाएगा कि वो कृष्ण जन्मभूमि पे ही अवैध रूप से बनाए गए वो जो है शाही ईदगाह है।
वो ऑलरेडी प्रूवन है कि यहाँ पर ईदगाह है, वहाँ पर मंदिर है। लीगल एक्सपर्ट्स ये उनका मानना ये है कि सिविल डिस्प्यूट में अगर कोई सर्वे होता है तो लास्ट रिसॉर्ट होता है। आप पहला रिसॉर्ट में सर्वे कर रहे हैं।
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. In May 2022, over a petition in the Krishna Janmsthan versus Shahi Idgah case, there are many petitions in this matter at various courts. We are talking about the local court in Mathura, which upheld the maintainability of this civil suit, which said that this 13.37 acres of land on which the Krishna Janmsthan, that is what was deemed, there is the Shahi Idgah. This has been built over what land belongs to, which is actually Krishna Janmabhoomi or Krishna Janmasthan, and that this land should be given back to the Hindus and should be by once again be the temple, because this Idgah has been illegally constructed. It also challenged, ladies and gentlemen, the agreement that was made between the Hindu side and the Muslim side in 1968 and deemed that agreement as illegal. Let's try and understand what the court did on the 24th of December as it passed this order just about 2 days ago, where the court said it ordered the court officer or the revenue official attached to the civil court, who's called the Ameen, to go and do a nirikshan, survey, match it with the land records, match it with the papers, see what is present there, and also perhaps measure this entire land area. Is it 13.37 acres? Is there a structure which shows that this the origin of the character? What is it? Has this structure been built on this land, this area which has been claimed by the Hindu Paksha's Krishna Janmasthan? Go ahead and do this. Now the order, the report has to be presented in a few days. The order actually says it has to be done inside of 3 days and then presented before the court, and the next hearing is sometime around the 20th of January. Let's try and understand what both sides are actually saying, and then we'll dive into the debate, ladies and gentlemen. What the Hindu Paksha is saying is that the Idgah is actually built, has been built on Krishna Janmasthan, the actual birthplace of Krishna. Aurangzeb demolished this Krishna temple, and it was demolished in the 1600s. The Idgah was constructed on the ruins in 1669, 1670. That's what it says. The Idgah or the mosque should actually be demolished. Aurangzeb. But what does the Muslim side says? That the Idgah or this mosque comes under the Places of Worship Act or the POW Act 1991. The Hindu side actually signed an agreement in 1968. Like I said, the veracity of that agreement and that it should be deemed illegal has also been challenged by this petition by a Hindu Sena leader. Hindu side says, has twisted the facts in court And this survey shouldn't be used as the first resort. This is what you heard Asaduddin Owaisi also say, that land records or a survey is actually something which is supposed to be the last resort. The question, ladies and gentlemen, is that area 13.37 acres? Is this structure standing upon a place whose original character is different? Now, if you look at Ram Janmabhoomi, there is Kashi Vishwanath or Gyanvapi and Krishna Janmabhoomi. Three critical areas, three critical aspects of Hindu Astha which have constantly been under question, and because this has been challenged in the courts now as a civil or a land dispute, then comes into play the Places of Worship Act 1991, beg your pardon. The larger question we are asking is, why should there be such nervousness and why be rattled by just a survey? All that the court has said is go ahead and check whether what is being claimed by one of the plaintiffs, is that true or false? What is wrong with going ahead and checking this? Is a question that we are asking. There are others who believe, why do you want to do it now? Ranjana Agnihotri, senior advocate and also petitioner in one of the many cases around the Krishna Janmabhoomi, is with us. Ashwini Upadhyay, advocate, with us. He is somebody who's been actively involved in questioning the Places of Worship Act 1991 itself and its veracity, and he deems that this itself is wide our constitution ab initio in the first place. Nirva Mehta, editor of India, who's also done their publication, has done a big story on this entire aspect and the dynamics of it. And we also have Saida Falakji, leader of the AIMIM. Let me start with Ranjana Agnihotri. Ranjana ji, one of the aspects is many people have come forth and said they have claimed this is Krishna Janamsthan. They believe that this Idgah is illegal. But there is also this agreement between the Hindu Paksh and the Muslim Paksh, which was signed in 1968, and somehow through some convoluted narrow pathways and then bending your head down and going there is access to the Krishna Janamsthan which was provided. So why rake up a settled issue is one of the core aspects. Where do you stand on this? Your audio is not, now I can hear you. Please go ahead.
2020. And thereafter an appeal was filed. Appeal was allowed. Hence the matter is before everybody. The compromise dated 12th August 1968 was challenged. Because those persons who were not representing the entire Hindu community, they fraudulently entered in the compromise and obtained degree from the court by playing fraud upon the court. Those persons who obtained the degree by taking stake of the Lord Krishna's deity's property, no one has right to alienate or to subjudice or to manipulate the property of the deity. So these persons have did this. We have challenged this. One of the prayer in this suit was this. Second question comes before everybody is why this suit has been filed and Act of 1991 is coming in the way. If you go through the entire Act and Section 4(3) of subclause B, subclause A and B of the 1991 Act, it is very specific. It says, I am having a copy of the Act, and it is Section 4, subsection 3(b). Any suit, appeal or other proceeding with respect to any matter referred to subsection 2 finally decided settled, it will not apply. We have mentioned each and everything in our suit, and we have placed that this suit is not applying in these circumstances. Second thing is this: Supreme Court in many cases have rendered and passed orders that whenever fraud comes in the light of any person, you can pray before the court via legal methods and legal methodologies.
Right.
So we have come before the court for our Lord Krishna's Janmabhoomi, or deity is a perpetual minor. No one can alienate or misappropriate the property of the deity. For welfare of the deity, we have came before the court, and a court, after due satisfaction, considered my case and allowed the appeal.
Saida Falakji, where do you stand on this? It's just a survey, and that too by a court, Amin, who has to just see if the records as it is detailed, does it match what is being seen there. That's what the court, Amin, has to do as per the court. Why such a hue and cry about a normal survey?
No, we are not afraid of the survey. See, we are raising our voice because the civil court order is wrong. We disagree with the order, and the court has violated the 1991 Places of Worship Act, which prohibits conversion of any place of worship. And when already a compromise agreement was made between the Shri Krishna Janmastan Seva Sangh and Idgah Trust, then why this survey is required? Just to create enmity between Hindus and Muslims, right? It will help the BJP to win the elections. Clearly, with Ayodhya in their kitty, now Kashi and Mathura are now the focus of the temple movement fueled by BJP. The slogan Ayodhya to sirf jhanki hai, Kashi Mathura abhi baki hai, epitomizes the Hindutva aspirations. The survey will only create enmity between Hindus and Muslims, question? And we hope. We hope the Idgah Trust
what kind of votes will
appeal against this order in the court.
So my question to ask you is that why aren't you turning around as a citizen of this country and asking why only Ayodhya, Kashi and Mathura are spoken about? What is the history behind this place?
Sir, Mr. Anand, have you read the 1991 Places of Worship Act?
I have.
Why all this is coming now?
No,
those masjids are built from hundreds of years ago.
By who?
Why the survey is
required?
Who
built those? Who built those? No, who built those, Saida ji? Who built those?
Whoever built those.
Who built those? No, you know who built it. No, I am asking you very pointed. Please answer my question. Do you know who built this? After breaking down structures which existed there, right? That's there documented in history.
How can you tell that? How can you tell that?
Ma'am, it's documented in history. My question to you is,
my
question to you is, you are okay with somebody who breaks down a religious structure in our country and builds another structure there? Are you okay with such a person?
Temples were broken
down. Are you okay with that person? Are you okay with such a person? Are you?
I'm not okay.
You are not okay? If you are not okay, let me tell you, ma'am, let me ask you this. If you are not okay with such a person, ma'am, then why is it that a leader of your party goes to the mazar of this person and lays a chadar there?
Why not? Why not?
Now you said you are not okay with such a person, and now you are saying why not? You are okay with Akbaruddin Owaisi going to the mazar of Aurangzeb and laying a chadar, despite knowing fully well that this is a man who destroyed structures which belong to the faith of fellow Hindustanis.
You have no evidence to prove that.
There is multiple evidence, not just with Mathura, ma'am. It is there. Evidence is there with Gyanwapi in Kashi. Evidence is there. Evidence is there in multiple cases. Now you cannot selectively decide. My point is, Saida ji, you got caught here, ma'am. You got caught here, ma'am. You got caught here in the fact that somebody breaks down the structure belonging to the faith of other Hindustanis and builds another structure, but you will celebrate that person and lay down a chadar there. But you will have you still have a problem with those people who believe they have been wrong. They go to the doors of the court. But you asked about the Places of Worship Act 1991. So let me ask Ashwini Upadhyay. The Places of Worship Act 1991, quoted by Ranjana Agnihotri ji, quoted by Saida Falak ji, quoted by Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi also, saying that the Places of Worship Act 1991 forbids you from talking about these structures. Ashwini ji.
यस देखिए, प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट कहीं पे भी सर्वे कराने के लिए नहीं मना करता। वो कहीं ये जाके वहां पे देखने के लिए कि उसका वास्तव में वो है क्या, वो मंदिर है कि मस्जिद है, इस बात को सर्वे कराने के लिए प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट बिल्कुल नहीं रोकता है। प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट पे PIL पेंडिंग है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में। 9 जनवरी को नेक्स्ट मंडे को इस पे नेक्स्ट मंडे इस पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट में सुनवाई है। एक बात जरूर मैं कहना चाहूंगा आनंद भाई, 85 देश हैं क्रिश्चियंस के, 85 कंट्रीज दुनिया में। उन 85 देशों में किसी चर्च के ऊपर किसी की हिम्मत नहीं गैर क्रिश्चियंस की आके कोई उंगली उठा दे। 55 देश हैं मुस्लिम्स के, उन 55 देशों में किसी गैर मुस्लिम की हिम्मत नहीं कि किसी मस्जिद के ऊपर कोई आके सवाल खड़ा कर दे। हिंदू पूरी दुनिया में आखिर हिंदुओं के लिए कोई एक देश होना चाहिए कि नहीं? अगर हिंदुस्तान में भी हिंदू अपने मंदिरों को वापस नहीं ले पाएंगे कोर्ट के जरिए जाके, तो दुनिया का ऐसा कौन सा देश है जहां हिंदुओं की कोई इज्जत बची है? आज हम आजादी की 75वीं वर्षगांठ मना रहे हैं और हमें इतनी कल्चरल फ्रीडम भी नहीं है कि हम कोर्ट जाके अपने भगवान को जिनकी गीता को पूरी दुनिया में पढ़ती है, जिनकी भगवत गीता में पूरी दुनिया में रिसर्च होता है, उस अपने भगवान के जन्म स्थान को मुक्त कराने के लिए अगर हम कोर्ट जाते हैं तो ऐसे तथाकथित सेकुलर लोग आके उसका विरोध करते हैं। एक बात जरूर आप समझिए, काशी, मथुरा, अयोध्या, भद्रकाली, भोजशाला, इन मंदिरों के लिए हमारे पूर्वजों ने अपनी जान गंवाई है। बहुत सारे लोगों को तलवारों से काटा गया है। ऐसा नहीं कि औरंगजेब आया मंदिर तोड़ दिया चुपचाप, किसी ने विरोध नहीं किया। हमारे पूर्वजों ने उसका विरोध किया और उसके कारण लाखों लोगों की हत्या हो चुकी है, तब जाके मंदिर तोड़ा गया है। आनंद जी, ऐसा नहीं कि वो आया मंदिर तोड़ दिया, किसी ने विरोध नहीं किया, लेकिन उस समय उनकी मजबूरी थी। नहीं, वो बेचारे मारे गए।
अश्विनी जी, Saida Falak wants to respond and then I'll take this further. Saida Falak wants to respond and I'll take this further. जी
सर पहले तो आप अपने दिमाग में ये बात डाल लीजिए कि है सो हिंदुओं के लिए क्या एक भी कंट्री नहीं होनी चाहिए? बिल्कुल होनी चाहिए भाई। इंडिया हिंदूज के लिए है, और लेकिन उसके साथ साथ इंडिया सेक्युलर है, मुस्लिम्स के लिए भी है, सिख्स के लिए भी है, ईसाई के लिए भी है, हर रिलीजन के लिए है। आप ये मत सोचिए कि जो है ना इंडिया सिर्फ हिंदूज के लिए है। भाई आपको खाली हिंदू कंट्री चाहिए तो आप जाइए नेपाल, जाइए, आप जाइए नेपाल। इंडिया इज अ सेक्युलर कंट्री, ठीक है।
ये एक बात है सईदा जी, नहीं सईदा जी 1 मिनट, सईदा जी 1 मिनट,
आनंद जस्ट ए मिनट जी। मेरे को ये बताओ, 55 मुस्लिम कंट्री हैं, वो सेकुलर क्यों नहीं है? अरे इंडिया सेकुलर है क्योंकि हम हिंदू मेजॉरिटी में है।
वो मुस्लिम कंट्री है,
कोई एक कंट्री बता दो, पाकिस्तान क्यों?
I'll tell you, no, 1 minute, Saida Falak, 1 minute, Saida Falak, 1 minute, Saida Falak, 1 minute, ma'am. With due respect to you, to Ashwini Upadhyay and to every viewer and every person, don't use this word secular for multicultural and pluralistic. India is a pluralistic country where every faith gets samabhav. That means equal respect. So in that case, ma'am, if Hindus want equal respect, they have a right to ask for equal respect. And ma'am, you are nobody to tell a Hindu in Hindustan that if you believe Hindus deserve rights, you go to Nepal. Sorry, ma'am.
No.
You have used the wrong expression there. Secondly, wait a minute, ma'am. Wait a minute. If you believe you are secular, if you believe Bharat is secular, then religion should be separate from governance, from the state. That's what secular means. So kindly stop debasing this language, this word any further. No, Saida ji, don't use this word secular where you should use pluralistic. Use pluralistic, use multicultural, don't use the word secular because you are debasing the word, you are abusing the word. Secondly, ma'am, in this country, as per the constitution of this country, 1 minute, ma'am, let me complete, I have not completed. 1 minute, ma'am, let me complete, ma'am, let me complete. Please don't shout over me, I don't want to shout over you, ma'am. Saida ji, no, ma'am. For you to turn around and tell any Hindu in this country that leave this country and go and live in Nepal, you got no business saying that. Just like no Hindu in this country has got any business telling any Muslim of this country, go live in another country. So what you have said is objectionable. What you have said is misconstrued. It's a wrong use of vocabulary, and the word secular should not be used in this context at all. One more point, ma'am, let me tell you. Every Hindu has a right to practice, propagate their religion and their faith because that is accorded by the constitution. And if there is another faith and community which is sitting on what Hindus believe is their place of worship and faith, then it is a responsibility of that Hindustani as part of a Hindustan to not contest that and to give that up. Because, ma'am, as per the tenets of Islam, it is un-Islamic for an Islamic structure, and it is mentioned in the Ram Janmabhoomi case by the Honorable Supreme Court in their judgment that any structure which is standing on another religious structure is deemed un-Islamic, madam. And if There are certain sections of Hindustanis in this country who continue to believe that they can continue to have these structures and call them Islamic. Then they are doing a disservice to the faith of Islam also. Let me quote the judgments very, very clearly and objectively. So, ma'am, Saida Falakji, for the case of politics, don't try and misconstrue words, misconstrue judgments and misinterpret laws of this country, because laws of this country are equal to every citizen. Every Hindu in this country does not need to be apologetic for being a Hindu, and we don't need any political leader to turn around and tell any other citizen that you should go and live in some other country. For you to say that is objectionable and regrettable, ma'am. And no, you don't have the right to insult and abuse anybody else. You don't have the right. The rights are equal to every citizen, Saida Falakji. The rights are equal to you as a Muslim, as a faith. The rights are equal to Ashwini Upadhyay and Rajana Agnihotri as a Hindu. The rights are equal to any other person following any faith, because the law is equal for all. And they have the right to seek legal recourse. And please, ma'am, from today, don't use this word secular to try and debase and play appeasement politics. Use multicultural, use pluralistic, don't use the word secular. Correct your dictionary and your lexicon to everybody. Nirva Mehta. Now the other part, Nirva Mehta. My point is, ma'am, is it wrong to legally ask for justification? Places of Worship Act 1991 says the religious character cannot be changed. What is the religious character? Who will decide? Secondly, if there are structures that have been built by invaders, by those who force themselves, should the court, when it says go and first do a land survey, why such a hue and cry about a land survey? This is not judgment. This is just going to ascertain whether that land is actually 13.37 acres. Whether that land is actually, whether that structure, the Idgah, has been built on a land which is claimed by the Hindus or the Hindu Paksh as land belonging to Krishna Janamsthan.
Yeah, Anand. So, scratch Vivadik Dhacha in India and you'll find the temple under it. Sitaram Goyal in his book wrote about how there are 1800 such Hindu temples which are destroyed, and now Islamic structures stand on them, like the mosque or dargah or such structures. The Places of Worship Act is one of the biggest hurdles when it comes to Hindus for reclaiming their temples, and it is unfortunate because they just decided arbitrarily that the date on 15th August 1947, the day we got independence, is the day, if the original structure is, the essence character will remain that. But the disputes were not really resolved, right? And 1947 also, just because that was the day India got independent doesn't mean that these issues or the claims were started after that. Hindus have.
No, but does that law actually, Nirva Mehta, if you study, it's a one-page law. Does that law actually give a justification as to why this date has been decided? On what basis this date has been decided?
It doesn't.
And the other thing is, does it distinguish between a place of worship and a place of prayer?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. In fact, what is unfortunate is, they all say that peace and injustice cannot coexist. That's what everyone keeps saying, which is true. But having said that, what about the injustice that has been meted out to all these years? The barbarians, the invaders, didn't just destroy these places of worship, the temples. They left the remains as is, so as a part of humiliation. Ki dekho, हमने तुम्हारा मंदिर तोड़ा और ये तुम्हारा, now our structure stands there. You will not be able to pray here, but look at it every day. That's how you look at the Gyamjapi Mandir. The Vivadik Dhacha there has the structures, the temple structures there. Go to Qutub Minar in Delhi, you will see the Ghantamala and all. There are the images of humans.
No, but then Nirva Mehta, as per the Supreme Court's order in the Ram Janmabhoomi case, these structures then become un-Islamic by default because it's a court order.
Yeah.
And it is as per the tenets of the scriptures in Islam itself that you are not supposed to build a religious structure over what is a pre-existing religious structure. That's what the core tenets of Islam themselves say. Then I have a question to ask Ashwini Upadhyay. Is it pure ego then? And then the other aspect, Places of Worship Act 1991, behind which everything is hidden, saying that this act protects all other monuments. My point is, sir, it protects monuments of worship. Is there a difference between worship and prayer? Is this a constitutionally strong law? And are you going to, is that where it all hinges upon? Or are civil disputes, land disputes outside the purview of the Places of Worship Act? Ranjana ji, coming to you after Ashwini Upadhyay.
Anand ji, there is a complete total difference between place of worship and place of prayer. Unfortunately, the name of the law is the place of worship, but it was made to protect the place of prayer. Temple is a place of worship and mosque is the place of prayer. This is the difference. Place of worship का मतलब ये होगा एक पूजा स्थल, अगर आप उसको हिंदी में कहिए तो उसका नाम है पूजा स्थल कानून. मस्जिद कानून नहीं उसका नाम है, और मस्जिद कभी पूजा स्थल नहीं होता. पूजा स्थल का मतलब ये हुआ जहां पे प्राण प्रतिष्ठा हुई, भूमि पूजन हुआ, वहां पे मूर्ति की स्थापना हुई, उसको कहते हैं पूजा स्थल, उसको कहते हैं मंदिर. जहां पे मूर्ति की पूजा की जाती है उसको कहते हैं पूजा स्थल. प्लेस ऑफ प्रेयर यानी मास्क उसको कहते हैं जहां आप बैठ के प्रेयर करते हैं, लेकिन वहां किसी की पूजा नहीं करते, किसी मूर्ति की पूजा नहीं करते. आपका मुंह पश्चिम की तरफ होता है, मक्का की तरफ, उसको कहते हैं मस्जिद, उसको कहते हैं प्लेस ऑफ प्रेयर. प्लेस वंस ए प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप, ऑलवेज ए प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप. क्यों? क्योंकि एक बार आपने भूमि पूजन कर दिया, मूर्ति की प्राण प्रतिष्ठा कर दिया, उसके बाद उस स्थान के मालिक वो देवता हो जाते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल,
वो मूर्ति नहीं होती, वो लिविंग डेटी हो जाता है, यानी देवता हो जाते हैं. There is a very clear difference, and the law and the constitution gives the deity living rights, perennial living rights. A deity is perennially living in the same status. Yes, Ashwini. Yes.
मैं अपने घर के बाहर एक मंदिर बना दूं, या अपने खेत में मंदिर बना दूं, या कहीं पे भी मंदिर बना दूं, अपनी जमीन खरीद के बनाऊं, अपने घर, अपनी पैतृक जो हमारी पुरानी जमीन है, फादर की जमीन, उसमें बना दूं. लेकिन अगर हमने वहां पे प्राण प्रतिष्ठा कर दिया, मूर्ति की स्थापना कर दिया, तो वो जो मंदिर का क्षेत्र है वो हमारा नहीं, वो देवता का हो गया. अब उसके बाद उस जमीन का ना मैं सौदा कर सकता हूं, ना किसी के साथ एग्रीमेंट कर सकता हूं, कुछ नहीं कर सकता हूं. और मंदिर तो बनाना छोड़िए, घर के सामने अगर एक नीम का पेड़ है, पीपल का पेड़ है, उस पीपल के पेड़ के नीचे हमने मूर्ति रख के अगर प्राण प्रतिष्ठा कर दिया, तो उस पीपल के पेड़ के आसपास की जो जमीन है जहां वो भगवान शिव का शिवलिंग रखा हुआ है या हनुमान जी की मूर्ति रखी है, वो हमारी नहीं हुई. जब हमारी नहीं हुई तो हम किसी के साथ एग्रीमेंट कैसे कर सकते हैं, किसी के साथ हम उसको बेच कैसे सकते हैं?
लेकिन इस देश का कानून ये भी कहता है, अश्विनी जी, इस देश का कानून ये भी कहता है, ये जो जमीन जिस पर आप प्राण प्रतिष्ठा करते हैं वो लीगली ऑब्टेन्ड होनी चाहिए, वो एनक्रोच्ड और ऑक्यूपाइड नहीं होनी चाहिए, और ये किसी फ्रॉडुलेंट तरीके से कब्जा करने की साजिश नहीं होनी चाहिए. नहीं, लेकिन ये बात भी कही जाती है कि original character is the place of the living deity. There are two aspects. The scriptures of Islam very clearly say that you cannot build a place of prayer over another place of ibadat or another place of worship or prayer. You have to, that structure has to be where you build it, that land has to be legally bought, it has to be clear of any other issues, and then you have to build the place of prayer. That's the scriptures in Islam say. In Hinduism and in Sanatan Pratha, what we believe, what is believed is that once you have the land, you have installed the deity there with pran pratishtha, with proper Vedic rituals, you infuse life into that idol or stone, which then becomes a living deity. And that living deity is perennially in that particular state. So that's why a Krishna Janmasthan is different from a Banke Bihari, because the status of the deity is different.
Yes.
That's the whole understanding. Ranjana ji, you wanted to come in on Places of Worship Act and the aspect of secular earlier. Saida ji, coming back to you after Ranjana ji. Ji.
This is not a simple matter of temple. It is the matter of birthplace. Unlike Jerusalem and Makkah, it should not be changed. We can build temple at any place, mosque at any place, but so far as matter of Janbhumi is concerned, it is not changeable. Where Lord Vishnu in the form of human incarnated as Lord Krishna with 24 colors. So it is very important. Like Mathura, Maya, Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, this is the Mokshadani Nagari. And Supreme Court in Ram Janmabhoomi case, Supreme Court held that whenever there is a dispute between fundamental rights of two people, two persons, so fundamental right of superior fundamental right will prevail. This has been rendered by Honorable Supreme Court. Here I am explaining how fundamental right is mine is superior, because from the darshan of Shri Krishna Janmabhoomi we get salvation, and in Islam there is no mention where these people were pursue namaz over there, they will get salvated. So here this is my superior fundamental right. Second thing, I am coming to 1991 Act. 1991 Act, Section 4, Subsection 3B is very clear. I am again reading this. Nothing contained in Subsection 1. Section 2 shall apply. Any suit, appeal or other proceeding with respect to any matter referred to Subsection 2 finally decided, settled. Here the decree has been obtained by playing fraud upon the court on the basis of forged compromise. Those persons who entered into compromise were not entitled to enter in the compromise, because no one has right to alienate their property. They were not representing the entire Hindu community. Suppose I am saying that I am representing entire Hindu community.
No, but that is the claim of the claim of the petitioner, and this is what you have to legally win the challenge in court. The point right now is why object to a basic court? I mean, civil court officers checking of the land records and measuring of the area. That's all that's been ordered by the court. It's not said that you do a full detailed survey, go into the Tekhana, go above, go there. That's not been ordered. What's been ordered right now, and I'm reading that order very clearly. हिंदी में ही लिखा है वो order है. मैं जरा मेरे पास ये order यहाँ खुला है, मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ उसको. इसमें इन्होंने सिर्फ ये लिखा है, बाबत मौके की अमीन आख्या मंगाए जाने पर वादीगण के विद्वान अधिवक्ता को सुना, प्रार्थना पत्र 9 बजरिए अमीन अदालत मौके की आख्या मंगाए जाने, न्यायालय के आदेश व नोटिस की तामील कराए जाने हेतु प्रस्तुत किया गया है. अदालत अमीन को आदेशित किया जाता है कि उभय पक्ष को सूचित करते हुए विवादित स्थल का निरीक्षण कर अपनी आख्यामय मानचित्र नियत तिथि का तक न्यायालय में प्रस्तुत करना सुनिश्चित करें. तदनुसार वादीगण आवश्यक पैरवी अंदर 3 दिन करे. प्रतिवादीगण पर समन नोटिस नियमानुसार जारी हो. तदनुसार प्रार्थना पत्र 9 निस्तारित किया जाता है. What's been told is that the civil court, Amin, has to just go ahead and verify the land records, measure the area which is there as per the records and come back and submit a report in 3 days. इसमें आपको कौन सी पॉलिटिक्स दिख गई? ये तो कोर्ट का ऑर्डर है. इस कोर्ट के ऑर्डर को भी आप गलत कैसे ठहरा रहे हैं? That's where the core crux comes down to. Rest of it is all subject matter of proving in court whatever the claim which is being made by the Hindu Paksh. Ranjana ji, sorry, please complete and then Saida Fala.
अगर किसी को कोर्ट का ऑर्डर गलत लगता है तो देयर इज ए रेमेडी बिफोर द हायर कोर्ट. दे कैन चैलेंज दिस ऑर्डर बिफोर द हायर कोर्ट, देन सुप्रीम कोर्ट. यहाँ ह्यू एंड क्राई की जरूरत नहीं है, भय की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. यहाँ तो ऑर्डर हैज बीन पास ओनली टू डू सुपरफिशियल सर्वे. वहाँ कोई एक्सकेवेशन नहीं है, कोई एएसआई की खुदाई नहीं होने जा रही, कोई जीपीआर सर्वे नहीं होने जा रहा. अगर सुपरफिशियल भी हमको इंस्पेक्शन करने के लिए नहीं देंगे तो ये वायलेशन तो मेरे फंडामेंटल राइट का वायलेशन. और कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर किया है, हम सड़क पर तलवारें लेके नहीं चले आए एआईएम की तरीके से कि भगवान राम को भी उल्टे सीधे शब्दों से नवाजें. ये कहें ये अपनी पार्टी का नाम मुसलमान रखे तो ये सेकुलर. और हम लोग अगर अपने राइट के लिए, फंडामेंटल राइट के लिए हम ड्यू कोर्स ऑफ लॉ अगर हम आते हैं तो
देखिए मैं सिर्फ एक और बात कहता हूँ. फिर से ये जो सेक्युलर शब्द है ना, ये इसको इतना डिबेस करके इसका गलत प्रयोग किया जा रहा है. रंजना जी, हमें बंद कर देना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये सेक्युलर बात नहीं है. इसका मतलब है कि आप अपने आप को मुस्लिमीन एआईएमआईएम कहते हैं, लेकिन आप सर्वधर्म संभावी हैं. दैट मीन्स यू आर इक्वानिमस टू ऑल रिलीजन, यू आर प्लूरलिस्टिक इन नेचर. बट आप एक एज एन इंडिविजुअल पर्सन है, एज ए हिंदू सेना, एज ए हिंदू पक्ष आप चले जाते हैं तो आप कम्युनल हैं, आप सिर्फ हिंदू की बात करते हैं. दिस इज द होल नैरेटिव सेट. द वर्ड सेक्युलर डज नॉट अप्लाई हियर. सो दैट्स समथिंग व्हिच ऑल ऑफ अस नीड टू करेक्ट आवरसेल्व्स. यस, सईदा फलक.
अभी अश्विनी उपाध्याय जी ने कहा था कि वंस अ प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप विल ऑलवेज रिमेन अ प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप. तो हम भी यही मानते हैं कि जब एक जगह मस्जिद बन जाती है तो क़यामत तक वो मस्जिद ही रहती है और हम उसे टूटने नहीं देंगे ना.
वो मस्जिद बनाने का तरीका क्या है? आप ही के स्क्रिप्चर्स में बताइए सईदा जी. आप ही के स्क्रिप्चर्स में मस्जिद बनाने मस्जिद कैसे
बनती है,
मस्जिद कैसे बनती है उसका क्या इस्लामिक है और क्या इस्लामिक है, वो आपके स्क्रिप्चर्स में ही आप बताएं सईदा जी। सईदा जी
कैसे बोल सकते हैं?
नहीं मैं कह सईदा जी, जैसा आपने कहा ना कि एक बार अगर मस्जिद बन गई तो बन गई, वो मस्जिद कहां बनी है तब उसको मस्जिद डीम किया जाता है, आपके स्क्रिप्चर्स में ही लिखा है, आप जरा वो बताइए ना। सी दैट्स व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, व्हाई आर यू सेलेक्टिवली पिकिंग एंड चूजिंग, व्हाई आरंट यू टॉकिंग इन होल मैम, व्हाई आरंट यू टॉकिंग, एंड दैट्स वेयर आई एम आस्किंग द क्वेश्चन, फाइनल वर्ड नीरवा मेहता, आई एम आस्किंग दिस क्वेश्चन वेरी क्लियरली, द पार्टी हुज लीडर गोज एंड पुट्स अ चादर एट औरंगजेब्स मजार, it's the same group of people who can see the structure of a temple over which a mosque has been built, who know what the scriptures believe because they are part of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board and supposed to be the custodians of Islam in India. That's how they portray themselves. But they will still ignore what the scriptures actually say. The tenets of the scriptures actually say as to what will be deemed a place of prayer, a rightful place of prayer as per Islam. Nirva Mehta. So is this all lost on everybody, even the courts of our country?
See, it is unfortunate that this happened, because this reminds me of the time when Haqqani Networks fellow went to
ma'am, it is so unfortunate, Saida ji, that as a citizen of India in 2022 you would make a statement like that, that people are just thinking it is a figment of imagination. I would request you, ma'am, to come with me and come with any one of us in this panel to Gyanvapi, come with any one of us in this panel to Krishna Janmabhoomi and Krishna Janmasthan or to Mathura, come with any one of us in this panel to Ram Janmabhoomi, and then look at it, and then you please tell me what has been done is right or wrong. Please go to Somnath one day and have a look, ma'am, that an entire temple, only the platform remains because the rest of it has been destroyed. So please don't say that it's a figment of somebody's imagination, because then you are insulting a fellow Hindu's faith or a fellow Hindustani's faith and belief. That is, you just now said that this is a figment of imagination. There is no temple structure there. That's what you said, ma'am. And so nonchalantly you said it. That itself shows your attitude, ma'am. Why did Akbaruddin Owaisi go to Aurangzeb's Mazar in Aurangabad and then put a chadar there, ma'am? That's the question. Does he respect an Akranta over and above his fellow Indian citizens and their sentiment? That's the question, ma'am. Nirva Mehta, complete. I've got to wind up.
It reminds me of the time when Haqqani Network's leader went to the grave of Ghazni and said that, he hailed him as the great leader who destroyed the Somnath temple. It's similar to that. Ghaznavi destroyed Somnath temple, and the leaders then go and play, worship him and place chadar on his grave, and then there is Aurangzeb's grave where the leaders, or Indian leaders, they go and offer chadar which appears like an insult to the fellow Hindus.
Why you people have problem with that?
You should have a problem, ma'am. As a Hindustani, as an Indian citizen, you should have a problem. You should have a problem on the fact that fellow Indians' faith, their belief, what is the Janm Sthan of their Ishta Devtas has been trampled upon in the past, and that has still not been attempted to be corrected in the true spirit of pluralism, in the true spirit of Sarva Dharma Sambhav, and any attempt to do it legally is being blocked. Now, there is a thought for introspection. The other part is, of course, this entire aspect of rabble rousing, and is it being done only to purely get political mileage out of it? That question also remains. Ma'am, we'll wait for the 9th of January when the hearing on Places of Worship Act 1991 happens in the Supreme Court, and the 20th of January when the matter is further heard in the Mathura court. We'll see what the civil court Amin also has to say. I have to wind up for the moment. I thank you. You need to introspect, ma'am. Leaders of the AIMIM need to introspect and really think what their line is. Is it in favor of India, or is it in favor of those who wanted to destroy the very core of India? And are they truly pluralistic in nature, really talking about every single member of Indian society? Thank you very much. We're going to wind up. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we turn the spotlight towards what Wang Yi has to say. Can his bhai tone be trusted, ladies and gentlemen? Stay with us.
स्टडी भी ली गई है, और हम लोग बहुत गहराई से इसमें सीरियसली सोच रहे हैं कि इसी के लिए, लव जिहाद के लिए एक सख्त कानून लाया जाए। अभी हम तो सरकार है, अब तो उठाएंगे, तो उसका भी जवाब देंगे।
It was on Saturday that this 20-year-old was found hanging in her makeup room on the TV set of the serial that she was shooting with. Her ex-boyfriend is also her co-star, who is now in police custody. 4-day custody has been granted to the police and questioning is on. CNN News 18 is tracking all the developments as far as the investigation goes, and for now, we can tell you is that the police believes that the investigation or the relationship between the two was over. 15 days ago is when they broke up. Whether it was mutual or not, what kind of emotional trauma the actor had to go through and what led up to her alleged suicide is something that is still under investigation. And Mihir, my colleague, now joins us to get us more details of what's the latest. Mihir, so far, how many people have been questioned or statements have been recorded of her crew or for family members we're given to understand?
Absolutely. In fact, even today, the police did visit the particular set where the serial was being shot, where these two were part of that particular serial where this incident happened. So the police is constantly trying to gather as many statements as possible of people who were close to the couple, the people who were present at that point in time. Remember, nobody really figured out that something like this has happened until they found her missing for a long time on the set, and that's when people started inquiring. There are few of them who entered or broke open that particular door and found her in that situation. Now these people's statement has been recorded. Apart from that, there are several other people who are known to the couple, who know about their relationship, who closely worked with them day in and day out, including some of the family members who are aware of the situation as far as Tanisha is concerned. So all these people are being questioned and their statements are being recorded by the police. Now the police is trying to gather some sort of evidence on the charges made by the family based on which the complaint has been filed. It's a case of abetment, and the police is trying to investigate and find out if Shizan really had certain statements or conversation which led to the instigation or pinpoints that it could mean that he was trying to instigate her to the extent of her taking such an extreme step is something the police needs to establish, and it's working in this direction. Remember, there are certain other angles that the police is not ruling out at this point. The mother has come out and spoken exclusively and for the first time broken her silence and clearly stated that the daughter was in a relationship. The person who was in a relationship with the daughter asked her to break up, considering he had certain reasons, but as far as the family is concerned, as far as the mother is concerned, he cheated on the daughter. He kept her in the dark because he was already having a relationship with other women, and he also promised her that they will get married, and that these are the things that really broke her heart and led her to that particular point where she took that kind of extreme decision.
After TV actor Tanisha Sharma's untimely demise, which sent shockwaves all across the country, big allegations are now being made by her mother. Her mother has alleged that Tanisha's co-star and her ex-boyfriend, who's now in police custody, Shizan Khan, cheated on her, gave her a false promise of marriage. She's also alleged that he kept Tanisha involved even when he was seeing other women. Now remember, the police had arrested Shizan Khan on charges of abetment to suicide on Sunday, and according to police sources, Shizan has revealed in his initial statement that both the actors were in a relationship and they had to call it quits because there was an age gap. There were also differences over their religion. Now, post the arrest of Shizan Khan, the BJP has come out and added their own twist. They claim this is a case of
Back on the right stand, and let's quickly look at the number of times China has backstabbed India. Ladies and gentlemen, 1988, China agreed in mutually accepted border solution. The current status, China doesn't even accept the McMahon line as the border or the line, and it continues to remain ambiguous. 1993, peace accord was signed with China to maintain peace at the border, and of course we know what is happening as far as along the entire line of actual control. Regular incursions, salami slicing continues. 1996, China signed the confidence building measures, CBMs, with India. Now, current status, absolutely India facing a two-front war situation with China increasingly increasing its footprint over in Gilgit-Baltistan on the guise of protecting its CPEC project. 2003, special representative mechanism to resolve border issue. 22 rounds so far, and China's expansionist drive continues. So you just want to keep you involved in talk and engaging in just going roundabout, doing nothing. And at the end of the day, they'll continue to push their agenda. Political parameters were agreed upon for settlement of dispute in 2005. China still following the salami slicing strategy or policy. And if you look at April 2020, the latest, China-India celebrated 70th anniversary of economic ties, and then immediately in June, clashes with Indian Army at the Galwan Valley. The recent Tawang one comes at the time when, on the sidelines of G20, when President Xi Jinping shook hands with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and immediately after that, Tawang happens. So then, can Wang Yi's bhai bhai tone that's been adopted in his comment, can it be actually trusted, or how should India read this? Let's go across to a very august panel joining us. Ambassador Anil Triguniyat, former diplomat, is joining us. We have Dr. Roger Liu, Associate Professor, Flame University, Dr. Shrikant Kondapalli, Professor in China Studies, JNU, is a China expert, and of course, Lieutenant General K.J. Singh, former General Officer Commanding in Chief of the Western Command. Namaste, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. Let me start with Roger Liu. Roger, good to have you with us. How would you read Wang Yi's statement? Should we be worried? Should we be ready for immediate intensity of conflict the moment China talks peace?
Thank you, Anand, for having me. I'm sorry I'm in Thailand, so I hope the connection is good.
Yes, it is.
Well, I think Wang Yi's Hindi Chini Pai Pai has been said or mentioned for so many diplomatic occasions. Well, after 1962, but nobody believes it now. Well, I don't know why Wang Yi bring this up again and again. Maybe he tried to make a new situation after the 20th Party's Congress to try to create some kind of new opportunities to bring India and China together to fulfill what he has called the Pan-Asianism or the Pan-Asian history, the situation between India and China. But I think we have to be cautious about this because, well, Jaishankar has been talking about creating more mind space of China. Well, when we were doing the foreign policies with them, we have to make them recognize our status. But we have to recognize this. The Communist Party, the authoritarianism, the authoritarian regime only respect one word, power. So we will have to, if we really want to have good negotiation terms with China on LOC affairs or other Indian Ocean related security affairs, we have to make sure that we have the strength, the military strength, the power backing us. This is very important. So that's why we joined Quad. We have been doing a lot of military escalation or upgrade for many things. That's very important. So I think, well, when Wang Yi brings up this, we have to see what China will do after this slogan. But the past experience has proven that, well, when China say that, they always try to backstab us. They try to show some, friendly gestures in front, but at the backside, actually, this is a threat. One example that I want to give you is that in 2018, they talk about China-India Plus. Now they're trying to bring this up again. China-India Plus is that China and India should work together on Indian Ocean regions related security affairs, which means that when we are trying to get security collaborations with our neighbors like Nepal, like Sri Lanka, like Bangladesh and Maldives, China has to be a participant as well. Why should we let China to go into the game that we have been? This is the sphere of influence traditionally for India. And now China invites itself inside of this game and say, well, whenever you are collaborating with your smaller neighbors, you have to work with us.
Right.
This is not Hindi chini pai pai. This is something they are trying to backstab us again. So we have to be very careful about this.
Sound and strong ties. That's what Anil Trigunia he talks about. He's now a Politburo member. So what do you see in layers? Should we be now on red alert? Because the moment they've always put out these tones. See, 2018 came after Doklam. So every time, and then after that we had April to June in 2020 itself, we saw what their intention is.
Well, you are absolutely right. I mean, every time we have had the talks with them or some kind of a friendly gesture on both sides is seen at the leadership level, there is always an incursion or there is some kind of a problem that happens on our borders. So, I mean, we need to be always on the guard for this. While dialogue, diplomacy, everything is continuing. And what Wang Yi is trying to say is that because we are continuing to talk, that means things are okay. But that is not the case. So India has to develop its comprehensive national power and will be able to, like we have been giving eyeball to eyeball responses to them wherever they are trying to occur. But that's not going to stop. That will continue forever because China does not look at India as an equal country. You know, if Wang Yi is saying that we need to work together, the ties can be consolidated, and we can, they're committed to stability or whatever it is, but they do exactly the opposite. And we have seen it is happening repeatedly again and again. So what Dr. Jaishankar clearly said, his 3M's approach, like that the mutual interest, mutual sensitivity, and mutual respect. Now, that's what, if they really are interested in doing that, but China has never looked at India from the prism of an equal power or a power that is. China is definitely feeling a bit constrained right now because India has been responding in kind to whatever China has been trying to do, and seeing that India's economy is growing, its international heft has increased, it is now going to host the G20 or whatever. So all these things are adding to India's stature. And Prime Minister Modi, of course, has been a strong leader, and that's something that bugs them. So they are doing exactly what Pakistan does. You know, that every time we talk to Pakistan, you have an attack waiting to happen. So it's precisely what this is happening. But still, India is preparing the way.
See, currently in the scheme of things, strategically, if you were to see, Pakistan is irrelevant as far as India is concerned. India is now talking with so many other nations at a different level, and Pakistan is nowhere in sight, Ambassador Trigunia. And point is that if we want China to treat India as an equal, we both share 1/5 of the world's population. That's the current aspect. We are also growing at a much faster pace than China is now. Yes, China is far ahead, developed, Dr. Shrikant Kondapalli. They have a few, at least a decade worth of speed ahead of us, but we are playing catch up. But when is this tone going to change? Should India now start being proactive rather than reactive? Should India also tell the Chinese that we can not only defend ourselves or push back, we can also flex muscle. We can also try and reclaim what you have taken away from us in the past. How would you see Wang Yi's statement? Yes, Dr. Kondapalli, can you hear me? Well, I'm going to check with Dr. Kondapalli if the audio is through with him. General KJ Singh, would you want to take that, sir?
Thank you, Anand. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.
With China, we have been following a policy of trust but verify. But in the past, now the policy that we follow is trust at your own risk. You can't take the risk. You just can't take the risk. For us who are on the ground, the soldiers, you have pointed out that we have done 7 agreements, 7 of them. But see, the core agreement that has to be done is the line which has to be defined. Unless you define that line, what are you guarding? What are you trying to contest? So China is reticent to define that line. We are saying good fences make good neighbors. So let's define the line. And China believes in the policy that one mountain cannot contain 2 tigers. And it thinks that it is a super tiger. So India has no standing. So my advice, Anand, is very strongly that we should not trust, we should be always, and in any case, we cannot take our focus away from infrastructure building. That is a thing which is on the roll, and it should continue rolling. And we should enhance the pace. See, they have set up Zyokangs, those border villages. Now, in this case, Yangtze also, the border village is right next door. It provides a launch pad. So China has increased problems and complexities for us. They have brought their launch pads well forward. They have reduced the reaction time. So we'll have to remain vigilant. We have to enhance surveillance, and we just cannot take a chance, Anand. We have to remain on guard for always.
You know, should India also, Dr. Rajulu, talk and act like China does? So make all the right noises, or don't talk at all, and continue to act and behave like the Chinese do, like the PLA does. So move in on certain areas, try and push the Chinese soldiers to a certain bush, try and deliberately go back and push them back towards certain junctions, reclaim the Y junction, patrol areas, start motoring like the PLA does. Give them a little bit of a shock and tell them that we are as good as you are, if not better. Because reaction time from India has improved. We saw that in Tawang, at Yangtze. But should we also kind of behave like the Chinese do, for them to start respecting us and looking at India not as a smaller entity or a non-entity to an equal adversary?
Thank you, Anand. I think, like you have indicated, the deterrence, the effectiveness of deterrence is very important for India to consider as well. Well, we don't have to act like China as brutally, but we have to consider in a more cohesively or more comprehensively strategic way. Say, for example, that, well, of course, to increase the rapid reaction at the LAC is very important. But at the same time, we have to have some strategic supports, for example, in our military strength. And the most important thing is what the Chinese has been doing is, well, the late Brzezinski, the former National Security Advisor of the US, has likened the Chinese strategy as playing the game of Go. So the game of Go is not like chess.
Yes.
Chess is one-on-one game, but the game of Go is that you create another battlefield in another place that your enemy or your rival will not expect. So what we are doing here is, instead of focusing, well, at the same time we are focusing on LAC, we should also focus on somewhere else. We should also focus on the front of international organizations. We should also focus on the front of other areas like Taiwan Strait, like in East Asia, South China Sea, and in all other places. We have to play the chess, play the Go like the Chinese does. We don't just focus on LAC because, well,
correct.
You don't get bogged down into strategic passiveness by your enemy. You have to decide the battlefield.
Yeah.
So I think India should look for new battlefields as well.
Right, not just look for new battlefields or be aware of new battlefields that China can create, but also create other battlefields to keep the PLA engaged, or to try and let the PLA know that, listen, we are wiser to your game. This Go aspect, this Go theory is a very interesting one that you bring to the table, Dr. Rajulu. That's why I really enjoy talking China with you. We've just got to interrupt this conversation because we've got news coming through from Pakistan. Now, I have limited time. Now, the Saudi embassy in Pakistan has warned Saudi nationals, or Saudi citizens in Pakistan, not to go outside. Now, this is amid the prevailing security situation around Islamabad. Abhishek now joins us with more details. Is this because of the TTP, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, intensifying its attacks? What is the reason why this advisory has been issued? This follows after the US and the UK also issued similar advisories.
So, Anand, in the last 1 week or so, Pakistan has faced over a dozen attacks from multiple terrorist organizations, especially in terror groups from Balochistan and in the area near Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. TTP has also taken the responsibility of many attacks where one of the army captain of Pakistan, along with 4 other army personnel, was also killed. Islamabad had seen this last week only. Islamabad had also seen a terrorist attack where one person was also killed. So there has been multiple attacks in the last few days in Pakistan, and as per the advisory, now Saudi is the 3rd country after USA which has advised not to venture out, not to go out in public places and avoid going out because of the security situation, which is under very serious condition. Because Pakistan has also asked the citizens to carry their identification card because of the multiple checkposts that has been created in and around the capital city, so that security checks could be imposed, and any attempt to have any military strike in the capital city could be thwarted.
Well, thank you for your inputs. So clearly intensifying civil or domestic situation in terms of a security situation. Mind you, there is the New Zealand team that is playing test cricket with the Pakistanis, and that's also happening there. Huge concerns that are being raised in multiple cities, especially around Islamabad, and of course going forward towards the tribal areas and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region. Have to wind up this edition of The Right Stand, but a big development coming through. China, amid the burgeoning cases and deaths, has actually now cancelled COVID test and quarantine for international arrivals. That's the latest update. But do you really want to travel to China? With that, we call it a wrap. Brass tacks follows.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Shivani Gupta. On Sunday, when the entire nation was paying tribute to former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee and celebrating his birth anniversary, new Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge's aide Gaurav Pandey called the former PM a British informer. This tweet, remember, came after it was announced that Rahul Gandhi, the former Congress chief, will be paying tribute to Atal Bihari Vajpayee at his Samadhi in Delhi. That visit eventually took place today morning. Needless to say, the BJP is up in arms against the duplicity in the Congress stand. One leader is respecting the former PM, while the other is attacking the former PM. While the tweet may have been deleted, did it end up poking holes in the Pyar Ki Rajniti that Rahul Gandhi is talking about? We debate that in just a bit.
As his Bharat Jodo Yatra takes a week-long break, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi visited the Samadhi of Atal Bihari Vajpayee and paid tribute to the former Prime Minister. Ahead of the visit, Congress had promoted the event as one that is in keeping with the spirit of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. But while Rahul Gandhi is preaching love, his party men are spewing hate. In a now deleted tweet, which he had posted on Vajpayee's birth anniversary, AICC coordinator Gaurav Pandey claimed that Vajpayee worked as a British informer during the Quit India movement. He also alleged that be it the Nellie massacre or the demolition of Babri Masjid, Vajpayee played an important role in inciting mobs. Pandey claimed there is a reason why the BJP likens Prime Minister Modi with Gandhi or Patel, but never Vajpayee.
भारत के बारे में दुनिया का नजरिया उस समय से बदला था। ये कांग्रेस की आदत बनी है। ये एक परिवार तक सीमित पार्टी है।
कांग्रेस पार्टी का संस्कार ही यही है, अटल जी को अपमानित करना, भारतीय जनता पार्टी को अपमानित करना, और वही काम अब मोदी जी के साथ कर रहे हैं।
While the BJP upped the ante, Congress tried to downplay Pandey's tweet.
राहुल गांधी जी या कांग्रेस पार्टी संस्थागत रूप से कुछ करती है तो वही पार्टी की विचारधारा है और वही पार्टी का स्टैंड है। किसी ने किसी सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म पर क्या कहा, जो कि अब डिलीट भी हो चुका है मेरी जानकारी के अनुसार, मुझे नहीं लगता वो चीज मायने रखती।
But the damage has already been done. Does Gaurav Pandey's tweet against Vajpayee expose the double standards of Rahul Gandhi's love politics?
Let's go across to the guests who are joining us. Tohin Sinha from the BJP, Lavanya Balal from the Congress Party, Kailash Adhikari is Governance Now MD, and Rashid Kidwai is author and senior journalist, tracks the Congress Party very closely. In fact, Rashid, I want to start with you. Has Gaurav Pandey's tweet, especially after the announcement that Rahul Gandhi will be paying tribute to Atal Bihari Vajpayee, which he eventually did, ended up embarrassing the Congress Party?
Yes, Shivani, in a way. But let's not forget that what the leadership says, or the top leadership says, that stands. I mean, we have so many reckless statements by Giriraj Singh or several others, but what Prime Minister Modi says, what Mr. Amit Shah says, that that stands, that articulates the government position on many contentious issues. So that is it. I think Congress has always been very curious about Atal Bihari Vajpayee. But Shivani, I want to say that this attempt by Rahul Gandhi to visit at Samadhi is laced with some kind of politics or politicking. He is trying to make a distinction between Vajpayee-led BJP and Narendra Modi-led BJP, and perhaps with an eye on future. I mean, we journalists tend to speculate a lot, and that's what I'm doing. But he is looking at 2024 scenario as well.
Yeah, I'll come to that. I'll discuss that a little bit more on the very move of visiting Atal Bihari Vajpayee's Samadhi, because this can be seen as a departure for the Congress bigwigs